Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us. Today, we are going to be diving into a book called From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. Have you heard of this one?
Yes, I have. It's incredibly popular. Actually won a Goodreads Choice Award.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, very, very popular on Book Talk.
Oh, so it's trending right now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to dive into this. It's a romantic fantasy.
It is.
And it starts with a young woman, Penelope, or Poppy.
Poppy.
Poppy, yeah, she's living in the Kingdom of Solace.
Yes.
And she's been chosen as the Maiden.
Mm.
And she's going to go through this Ascension ceremony on her 19th birthday.
Yeah.
So she's living a pretty restricted life kind of in preparation for this.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot of rituals, a lot of,
Yeah.
very, very specific things she has to do leading up to the Ascension. And it's all very secretive and mysterious.
Okay. So she's yearning for freedom and experiences.
She is.
But she's kind of stuck in this life.
Very much so. It's a really interesting contrast, and it makes her character really compelling right from the beginning. One of the things that sets her apart, though, is that she has this unique ability called the touch. And basically, she can feel the pain of others, both physical and emotional.
Oh, wow.
So it's really, really powerful.
Yeah. So is this like everyone in the kingdom or?
Yeah, no, it sets her apart.
Okay.
It sets her apart from like the ruling class,
Oh, okay.
the Ascended.
Okay.
And it kind of hints at her very empathetic nature, which is really important throughout the book.
Yeah, I bet. That would create such a complex internal world for her, especially with such a rigid hierarchy that they seem to have.
Absolutely. I mean, just imagine being able to feel everyone's pain around you.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking, like, if you could sense everyone's pain, especially like the Ascended, like, how would that change your understanding of them and their power?
That's such a great point. And it does play a role in the early chapters. We see her actually using this touch in secret to participate in these death with dignity rituals for those that are cursed to become Craven.
Craven.
Yeah, the Craven. They're these monstrous creatures in the kingdom, and if anybody's bitten by them, they're doomed to transform.
So she's using her power to ease their pain before.
Exactly. Exactly. She's granting them peace
Oh, wow.
in their final moments.
Oh, wow.
So it's really powerful.
Yeah, that is powerful. But it's also like super dangerous. Like she's defying the kingdom's laws.
Absolutely. It is a huge risk.
Okay, so this is all happening before she even knows the truth about the Ascendant.
Yes, exactly. So she's already starting to push back against
Oh, I see.
the norms.
So what else is going on in these early chapters? What else is shaping her world at this time?
Well, there's Hawk.
Hawk.
He's introduced. He's a royal guard, and he's assigned to protect Poppy. And right away, their relationship is electric. There's this spark.
Okay.
He's bold. He pushes her. He challenges her worldview. He's making her question everything she's ever been taught. And there's this really strong attraction between them. But it's completely forbidden because she is the Maiden.
Ah, forbidden romance. I can already tell this is going to be good.
But then everything changes. Their whole world gets turned upside down when the castle is attacked
Oh, no.
by the dissenters.
The
The dissenters.
Right.
They're a group that opposes the Ascended. And the attack is chaotic and it's violent. And in the midst of this, we see that Poppy actually has hidden combat skills.
What?
Yeah. Turns out she was secretly trained by Victor.
Who's Victor?
He's her guard and her mentor.
Okay.
But tragically,
Uh-oh.
he's killed,
Oh, no.
protecting Poppy.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Yeah, it's a huge loss for her. Devastating. And it really marks a turning point.
Yeah, losing someone like that in such a traumatic event, I can only imagine, like,
It's life-changing.
yeah.
Yeah.
How does she respond to all of this?
Mm-hmm.
To this attack and to losing Victor?
It really shakes her to her core. And she starts to realize the extent to which she's been controlled and manipulated her entire life. She's angry. She's hurt. And she makes a huge decision. She decides she doesn't want to ascend anymore.
Oh.
The thought of becoming one of them after seeing all this violence and losing Victor, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
So she flees the castle with
Yeah.
Hawk and a small group of guards.
That is a huge decision. Like, she's running away from this life that's been planned for her.
It is. It's incredibly brave.
What happens during the escape? Like, what happens when they're fleeing?
As they're traveling, Poppy and Hawk are growing closer and closer. Their feelings for each other are becoming undeniable.
Right.
But then Hawk reveals his true identity, and it's a bombshell.
What is it?
He's actually Castile, a prince from the enemy Atlantean kingdom.
What? No way. So the guy she's falling for is
Yeah.
from the enemy kingdom.
The enemy.
Oh my goodness, I did not see that coming.
And as if that wasn't enough, he drops another truth bomb. The Ascended aren't just a powerful elite.
What are they?
They're vampires.
Vampires, like
Yep.
vampires.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on. So much is happening right now.
Yeah.
So they're sustained by the blood of mortals.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Ascension ceremony. It's actually this horrifying transformation into one of them.
So all those children being offered during the ritual are
Victims?
victims.
They're victims.
Their blood is used to fuel the Ascended.
It is.
So Poppy was basically being groomed to become this creature of the night.
Pretty much.
No wonder she wanted to get out of there.
Yeah. It's a horrifying truth to uncover.
So what happens after this revelation? After she finds out about the vampires?
Well, Poppy ends up getting captured
Oh, no.
by another group of Atlanteans
Okay.
who are opposed to Castile.
Oh, so there's divisions in the Atlantia.
Oh, yeah. Lots of internal conflict there.
Oh, man.
And she's badly injured, like near death.
Oh, no. Does Castile save her?
He does, but it's not that simple.
Of course not.
To save her life, he gives her his blood.
His blood.
And this act reveals another huge truth. Poppy is actually half Atlantean herself.
Oh, my gosh. This is insane.
And just when she's trying to process all of this, Castile announces his plan to take her to Atlantia and marry her.
He's gonna marry her.
Yeah.
After everything that just happened.
Yep. That's how the book ends.
Wow.
With Poppy being whisked away to the enemy kingdom.
Oh, my goodness. I need to know what happens next. This is crazy.
So Poppy arrives in Atlantia, and it's not exactly a smooth transition.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, she's in the heart of the enemy kingdom, right?
Right. A place that she's always been taught to fear.
Yeah.
You know, she's been raised with this very specific worldview, and now everything she thought she knew is being completely challenged.
It's got to be a huge shock to her system.
Oh, it is. And it's a lot for her handle.
So how does she cope with this, like, sudden shift in perspective?
Well, she's definitely apprehensive. I mean, it's understandable. She struggles to adapt to Atlantean customs, which are vastly different from what she's used to in Solus. You know, in Solus, she was the Maiden. She had this life of privilege, even though it was restricted. And now in Atlantia, she's treated with suspicion. They view her as an outsider.
Yeah.
And her role is totally uncertain, so it's a big shift for her.
I can imagine that being like a blow to her ego and her sense of self.
It is, but it's also an opportunity for her to grow.
Oh, yeah, that's true. To, like,
Yeah.
shed those expectations that have been put upon her and just figure out who she is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what we see happening. She shows her inner strength.
Okay.
You know, despite her apprehension, she really is determined to understand this new world. She starts to learn about Atlantean history, their warrior culture, their conflict with the Ascended. And remember how Poppy was trained to fight by Victor?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that combat training is just a normal part of life for Atlanteans.
Oh, wow.
So it makes total sense
Yeah.
considering her heritage.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if Victor knew about Poppy's Atlantean blood all along.
It does. It's one of those things that makes you go back and rethink everything.
Yeah, yeah. So even with these new skills and this kind of new understanding of herself, she's still got a lot to figure out.
She does.
What about her relationship with Castile? How does that play out in this new environment?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Their relationship is so complex.
Yeah.
I mean, they're attracted to each other,
Right.
but there's also so much mistrust there.
Right, because he lied to her about who he was.
Exactly. He kept his identity hidden from her, and that's a big deal for her.
Yeah.
Plus, she's trying to reconcile her feelings for him with the fact that he's an Atlantean prince,
Right.
you know? Someone she's always seen as the enemy,
So it's like forbidden love on steroids.
basically.
Yeah.
Amplified by all the political tension between their worlds.
Yeah, for sure. So there's definitely that push and pull between them.
Oh, absolutely. And Castile, on his end,
Yeah.
he's trying to win back her trust, while also juggling his responsibilities as a prince.
Makes sense.
He needs her help
Okay.
to secure his brother's release from the Ascended, and he thinks that marrying her will unite the Atlanteans.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it'll strengthen their position in the war.
So there's like a strategic element to their relationship.
For sure.
But it's not just like a marriage of convenience, right?
No, their feelings are real,
Okay.
but they're constantly being tested.
Yeah.
They're dealing with external forces and their own internal struggles.
Right. It's got to be hard for them to like build something stable in the middle of all of that.
It is, and we see them both struggling with their past traumas and their insecurities.
So it's a very compelling dynamic.
Very.
And I can imagine readers are like rooting for them the whole time.
I would imagine so.
But we can't forget about the Ascended.
Oh no, those guys are still out there.
They're a big problem. They're not just going to let Poppy walk away.
Right. They're a constant threat in Atlantia.
Oh,
Castile and his people are always on edge, preparing for war. And don't forget, the Ascended aren't just like a political enemy.
right. They're vampires.
Right. They need human blood to survive.
Yeah, so the stakes are super high.
Very high. It's not just about territory.
Right, it's about survival.
Exactly.
So where does Poppy fit into all of this?
That's the question.
Yeah,
She's not the Maiden anymore,
right.
but she's not really Atlantean either.
So where does she belong?
That's what she's trying to figure out.
Yeah.
But as she learns more about her Atlantean side, she starts to realize that she's got these special abilities that could help in the fight against the Ascended.
Wait, hold on. What kind of abilities?
It's more than just combat skills.
Okay.
Poppy's got this connection to something called the Primal of Life.
The Primal of Life.
Yeah, it's like this powerful entity representing growth and renewal.
Okay.
And this connection gives her crazy healing powers.
What?
Yeah.
So she can heal people.
Yeah, she can help others.
Wow.
It's a big deal, especially in a world that's ravaged by war and these vampires who are all about death and destruction.
Right, so it's like she's the opposite of what they represent.
Exactly. Poppy and her powers represent hope in this dark world.
But I bet those powers also make her a huge target.
Oh, for sure. The Ascended will do whatever it takes to capture her and use her powers for their own purposes.
So she's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Pretty much. She's discovering her potential while also facing some serious danger.
And trying to figure out her relationship.
And her place in the world.
It's a lot.
It is, but it makes for a great story.
So last we left off, Poppy had just discovered this connection with the Primal of Life. And she's got these amazing healing powers.
Right, and it completely changes the game for her and for the war against the Ascended.
Yeah, I mean, her abilities could be so helpful, right? Like, not just for healing wounds, but also for, like, bringing hope back to people.
Exactly, and that's exactly what she becomes. A symbol of resistance, a light in all this darkness.
It's a lot of pressure, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a
Yeah.
huge responsibility.
So how does Poppy deal with all this? Especially since she's spent her whole life being controlled and told what to do.
It's definitely a struggle for her at first. You know, she's hesitant and unsure about how to use her powers. Remember, this whole journey for Poppy has been about breaking free.
Right, right.
So now she's fighting her own self-doubt on top of everything else.
It's like she's facing her biggest challenge yet.
Yeah, in a way it is. But she's not alone.
Oh, good.
Castile really steps up for her. He sees her potential and he encourages her to embrace her powers.
And so their relationship is evolving.
Oh, yeah. It goes way beyond just attraction and politics at this point.
Right.
It becomes this really deep connection built on respect and understanding.
It's beautiful how they support each other through so much.
It is. But they still face tons of challenges.
Of course. Like what?
Well, for one thing, Poppy learns that Atlantia isn't perfect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's power struggles and old rivalries, and some people still don't trust humans.
Oh, so even though they're fighting the Ascended together, Atlantia still has its own problems.
Exactly, and Poppy's right in the middle of it.
That's rough. How does she navigate all that tension?
With a lot of grace and determination, Poppy's really empathetic, so
Oh.
she can see past the surface and connect with people who are willing to change.
That's a really powerful skill.
It is. And she doesn't just rely on her empathy, she proves herself as a warrior, too.
Yeah, I remember her combat training.
Right. She fights alongside the Atlanteans and earns their respect.
So it's like she's finding her place.
She is. She makes some really strong allies.
Okay, like who?
Well, there's Kieran, Castile's woven companion, and this awesome warrior named Delano.
Okay.
They become like her new family.
That's so great. It seems like she's finally found people who accept her for who she is.
Yeah, she has. But the fight against the Ascended is far from over.
Right. What happens with that?
Well, things really escalate. There's epic battles and daring raids. Poppy's combat skills and healing powers are pushed to the limit.
Sounds intense.
Oh, it is. It's a fight for survival.
So is that the main goal? Just survival? Or is there something more they're fighting for?
It's about more than just staying alive. Castile and Poppy want to expose the lies of the Ascended.
Okay.
They want everyone to know the truth about the Ascended's origins and how they've manipulated both humans and Atlanteans.
So it's about truth and justice.
Yes. And Poppy, with her unique heritage and her connection to the Primal of Life, becomes this symbol of hope for a better future.
A future where humans and Atlanteans can coexist.
Right? Free from the Ascended.
It's a beautiful vision. Do you think the book offers any clues about how to achieve that kind of peace?
I think it shows how important empathy is.
Yeah.
Understanding each other and challenging our prejudices.
Right.
It's about seeing our shared humanity even when we seem different.
That's such an important message, especially today.
It is. It reminds us that even in dark times, hope can still exist and change is possible if we fight for it.
Yeah.
From Blood and Ash is a powerful story. It's got romance, action, betrayal, and ultimately it shows the strength of the human spirit.
I'm definitely adding it to my reading list.
You should. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Well, thanks for taking us on this deep dive.
Of course. Always a pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, if you're looking for an exciting fantasy with a great message, definitely check out From Blood and Ash